oil's starting to pop because I had a little bit of water in the pan. So that's one way you can tell if it's hot. If you have sprinkled a little water and it starts to pop, that's not always safe because it could pop at you and you could get burnt. When you see it starts to get ripples in the oil, you know it's really hot. And I just start dropping my patties in to brown them. We're not going to cook them all the way through. We're just going to get them browned. I'm going to have to do this in 2 batches. Okay, so I just flipped these over. They cooked for maybe 3 to 5 minutes on the first side. I'm going to cook them on the second side for another 3 to 5 minutes. I'm not trying to cook them all the way through. I'm just trying to get them brown just like you see. Just like that. And I'll be back. So all of my patties have been browned up. Now we're going to do a gravy. We're going to make a gravy to put these patties in. My husband has to have onions in his gravy. He loves lots of onions in the gravy, so I'm going to take a white onion, and slice it up. And put it in the pan. And let it get soft. And it's going to release some water. This will help get some of these drippings off the bottom of the pan. I turned my flame down because I browned my patties over high flame. But I don't want everything here to be burnt like charcoal, so I just turned it down while I'm doing my onions. And I'm just going to stir and scrape until everything's off the bottom of the pan and the onions are soft. Now I'm going to sprinkle some flour into all that oil. And the amount of flour you're going to use depends on how much gravy you want to make. I have a lot of patties here. I want a lot of gravy. So that's why I put so much flour in the pan. And I'm going to use a wooden spoon if I can find it. And cook the flour so that the gravy doesn't taste like raw flour. You can add a little bit of butter in here if you think you need some more oil, or you can drizzle a little bit more oil in here. And the wooden spoon is much better at deglazing the pan. That's kind of dry. I'm going to add a little bit of butter just to moisten up all that flour. Okay, so after you cook your flour for a couple of minutes, you're going to start adding your liquid. I'm going to add a can of beef broth. If you don't have beef broth, you can just use water. And then I'm going to need more liquid, but the rest of the liquid I'll just use water. I'm going to turn my fire back up high. And this is going to start to thicken. When it gets thick, we just keep adding water until it's the right consistency. Better. And then you're going to want to check it for seasoning. You're going to need to put some more salt or whatever you want in it. You can put your garlic powder, onion powder, your complete seasoning if you want. Definitely need salt. And I always season mine with seasoned salt. And I also always add some, what's this stuff called? Browning seasoning? Browning and caramelizing seasoning. You can use this as Gravy Master. You can also use one called Kitchen Bouquet. And it adds color and flavor. This doesn't really need any color, but it does add flavor, so I always put a little bit in all my gravy. No matter what kind of gravy I'm making. Because I like the flavor. It doesn't taste like gravy if it doesn't have one of these browning sauces in it. Well, not to me anyway. Okay. Now that's about the consistency, maybe a little thinner. And then we're going to add our meat back in to the pan. Get them down under that gravy. Good job. And all the juice that came off, put that back into. You're going to have a plate full of juices, and you want all that flavor back in there. And get your patties coated, covered. Turn your flame down to medium-low. Cover it and let it cook for 20 to 30 minutes. and we'll be back. You want to check your Salisbury steaks every few minutes. Give them a stir and make sure, because it's gonna, the gravy and everything in there is gonna start sticking on the bottom of the pan, and you don't want to scorch your gravy. So come in every few minutes and just use your wooden spoon and scrape the bottom of the pan, stir it all up. Make sure it's not burning. Try not to break apart your little beef patties as you do this. And let it continue to cook covered. So here is the finished dinner. We have served the Salisbury steak with sauteed string beans and roasted potatoes and gravy on top. I usually serve this with rice and put the gravy over the rice, but we've been having a lot of rice lately, so I decided to do potatoes. And here's my beautiful daughter to taste it.
Hi.
You barely got it in your mouth and you were saying already.
This is already good. Alright, Tom. That's delicious, Mom. No lie.